Hello, some guy on the internet here. I think you, just like me, have seen how negativity is the one constant thing that's becoming more and more prevalent online. I would provide examples of what I mean, but I don't think that's necessary. There's no need to bring up past trauma. This is not a therapy session. Personally speaking, I've basically fallen into another depressive episode, so I'm gonna combat some of that negativity with some pure positivity by talking about cool things in video games. And I would explain what I mean by cool things, but I think you'll get the idea as I get into it. And since I'll talk about a lot of different games and specific parts of these games, I'm gonna give a spoiler warning for each game, but also how far into the game the cool thing shows up. And there's also going to be a time code on screen somewhere in this space, so you can safely skip to the next part. With that said, get comfortable, grab a snack, maybe a drink, or put me on in the background as you go strip mining again, Craig. Don't worry, Craig. My soothing voice will be here as you dig further and further and further, breaking block after block, until your mind slowly turns off, as your entire reality becomes just you, helplessly digging through the seemingly infinite gray void. Until your pickaxe breaks, that is. Anyway, here's the cool things. The first thing is from Fallout 4, and this is kind of in the middle of the game. I can't really remember. It's been a while since I played Fallout 4. And I mean, I guess it also kind of depends on when you do the mission. But I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in the middle of the game. Anyway, spoiler warning ending in 3, 2, 1, now. So Fallout 4. It's an okay experience. You got pretty fun gameplay, stories a little all over the place, but overall, pretty fun, right? There is, however, one moment that always stood out to me, and it's the mission where you're looking for the guy that escaped the Institute. I'm pretty sure his name was Virgil. At this point in the game, you've definitely been told a number of times that there is no place to really hide from the Institute. Their watching eye sees all, so finding Virgil will not be easy. Eventually, you and your friends figure out that he must be in the glowing sea, a highly irradiated area of the map that's basically concentrated danger. So, you strap into your favorite power armor, start skedaddling over there. It's pretty cool, it's pretty scary, vibes are good. And you keep following that quest marker. I initially thought that he would be in the crater, since there's no place greater than the crater, but I would see how wrong I was a little later. That sentence rhymes far too much. So anyway, you keep going, you keep following the quest marker, you keep going to try and find Virgil, and then you get dangerously close to the border of the map. And you're like, Is the game bugged? I can't go there. But you trust the game. You're like, Todd Howard, I know it just works, so I'm just going to trust your words, and I'm going to follow the quest marker. And so you keep going a little further and further until you eventually realize that you're setting foot outside the game map. This scientist had to hide from the Institute so bad that he hid outside the gosh darn heckin' world. Obviously, I'm still within the allowed play area. I'm not boundary break. I'm still within the allowed play space of this sandbox. But it's still so cool. The first time you see this happen, you're going off the logic that the funny-looking border on your Pip-Boy map means no game past this point. And then when the developers allow you past this point, it not only feels really cool to break the rules like a naughty little boy, but it also makes the Institute that much more scary and imposing. I mean, at least narratively, for a very brief moment. Anyway, next cool thing. This next thing is from the game Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and it concerns some very end of the game type stuff. So, massive Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order spoiler warning! Your last chance to skip to the next part ends in 3, 2, 1, now. So Fallen Order is one of my favorite games, or at least it used to be. I think Survivor has probably taken its spot by now, but either way, Fallen Order is a lot of fun, and it's also challenging. The game designers knew that they were making a challenging game, so they kindly added in some strategy tips for each enemy type you defeat. They'll tell you what to watch out for with each enemy, but also what they might be weak to. Pretty helpful stuff. Thank you, game. I will make sure to check these out whenever I can. So you play through the game, you defeat whatever comes your way, after probably many tries, and then you fight Trilla for the 30th time, but this time it's clearly the final time. You've got her moves locked in, you're parrying, you're slashing, until finally success. She's defeated. You win, time for a medal ceremony. Wait, what's happening?
You have failed me, Inquisitor.
Avenge us!
What do I do? I don't. Right. The combat tips. That'll tell me what to do. I'm sure they will tell me how to. Oh. Jarvis? Unship my pants.
Right away, sir.
This moment was so cool and intense to experience, and then on top of that, having the game tell you that you're not that guy, that's how you design a core memory. Or trauma. Either way, this moment is seared into my mind, and it acted as the perfect climax to what was already an amazing experience. Well, except for the performance, of course. Or should I say, performance? Oh, come on, it was at least a little bit funny. Search your feelings. You know it to be true. The next thing I want to talk about is from the critically acclaimed and awesome game Watch Dogs, which we all highlight as our favorite game of all time, without question, without fail, because it is so cool, awesome, great, and did I mention cool? This concerns the very end of the game, so your chance to skip ends in 3, 2, 1, now. So yeah, I don't think it's crazy of me to say that Watch Dogs is kind of the definition of mid. I played it when I got my Xbox One and didn't finish it due to a severe skill issue and boredom, but then I bought and replayed it and then also finished it a few years ago. I wish I didn't. It was not worth the effort. The game just sort of kept going and going and going, and it just didn't really know when to wrap it up, and during the whole end sequence, my brain was nothing but TV static. That said, I haven't forgotten the point of this video. There is one cool thing about the game, one pretty cool moment that I can still recall. You basically go after this bad guy that's just, real stinker type guy, responsible for a lot of corruption. You chase him down, and then eventually, when you find him, he's behind bulletproof glass in a room that doesn't really have a hackable way inside. And you got police coming in very fast. He's all smug. He thinks he's got you beat, but then you get the option to hack his pacemaker. You just quietly turn it off and watch as this old prick slowly crumbles to the floor and dies. It's a really good climax for that game. Except it isn't the climax. There's like 2 hours of agonizing gameplay left after that point. But good job, game designers. You did a cool moment. Gold star. Next thing. The next thing comes from Psychonauts 2. The Psychoning. The Electric Psychaloo. The Psyquel. Judging completely by my memory, this thing is from somewhere in the middle of the game. But I think it also kind of depends on what order you do certain things in. But somewhere in the middle of the game. That I'm pretty certain of that. But either way, your last chance to skip to the next part ends in 3, 2, 1, now. So Psychonauts is a wonderful platformer that further delves into the concept of exploring people's minds Mario 64 style. Or, I guess, more like Monsters Inc. style because of the doors. The minds you explore are the levels you play, and they did a wonderful job of improving upon the formula of the first game. They explored way further this time, and in the process, made the coolest level I've ever seen in a platformer. Psychonauts 2 asks the question, what would it look like inside of a mind that's been dormant for several years with zero sensory input that then suddenly wakes up again? The answer is absolute magic. Starring Jack Black. Exploring Helmut's overwhelmed mind as he slowly regains his composure, remembers who he is, faces his past, and then on top of that delivers a fantastic song performance is just simply cinema. I loved every second of this part of the game, and my one critique, is that the villain interrupts the song. I mean, I guess it's just good writing though, because now I truly want that woman to suffer for her crimes. Anyway, next thing. This time we're going for a swim in Subnautica, and this thing doesn't really show up at a specific point in the game. You could see it in like your first 3 hours or like not at all. It's not a massive story spoiler though, so no worries on that end. It's not even story related. That said, your last chance to skip ends in 3, 2, 1, now. So Subnautica is one of those games where I could like pick 10 cool things off the top of my head to mention, but I've decided to pick this one thing. In the game, you can scan all kinds of things to get more lore information, and this, of course, includes the creatures. Some creatures are, however, easier to scan than others, and this is especially true when it comes to the big boys like the Reaper Leviathan. If you are daring enough, you can actually swim up close to them and stun one with a stasis rifle, which means you can scan it. And I mean, I guess you could also stab it to death, but like at that point you're just risking pissing off what was already going to eat you. But let's just hypothetically say that you managed to scan the lad and swim away without shitting yourself, because you had the clever idea to poop before looking death in its 4 pitch black eyes. With a bright smile on your face, you open your PDA and you read the new knowledge you just unlocked. The deep roar emitted by the Reaper at regular intervals is effectively sonar. If you can hear it, the Reaper can see you. Jarvis? What I really like about this piece of lore is how it recontextualizes this moment that's very common in the game, where you're zooming around and then all of a sudden you hear in the distance this faint roar. Normally, you're just like, aight, I'ma turn around. But now you're like, aight, I'ma turn around faster. I'm also 100% aware that the Reaper AI most likely does not use actual echolocation to find you, but the illusion that it does is still there and still works. Next thing. This next thing comes from Dark Souls 3, and it concerns some very end of the game type stuff. Not the end of the DLCs, mind you, just the base game. Oh, and there's also a minor spoiler for Dark Souls 1, because there's a joke that I wrote that I really want to keep in. Your chance to skip ends in 3, 2, 1, now. So, the Soul of Cinder. Pretty cool boss, right? You know, you got great music, cool arena, fun moveset, just overall good time. But what's really cool, and probably my favorite part of the boss, is its lore. The soul you get from defeating the Soul of Cinder says the following. Since Lord Gwyn, the first Lord of Cinder, many exalted lords have linked the first flame, and it is their very souls that have manifested themselves as defender of the flame. What this piece of lore says, more or less, is that the Soul of Cinder is the culmination of every single Lord of Cinder from the past, meaning that you're essentially fighting the entire Souls community. Miyazaki and his team designed a boss that represents what it would be like to tell the Souls community that your favorite boss is the Beta Chaos. Oh, and just to be very clear, my favorite boss is not the Beta Chaos. This was specifically written for a joke. Just want to put that in there. I'm not crazy. I might be stupid, but I'm not crazy. I love how this recontextualizes the fight, and also kind of brings out a story within the fight as well. The way I see it is that as you're fighting the Soul of Cinder, each part that represents each Lord of Cinder admit defeat one by one as you deplete its health bar. Finally, there's only one part of it left, and that is Gwyn Gwyn Gwon. I'm so funny and talented as a writer. It's also really neat to think that within this thing are your previous builds, so it's kind of like seeing an old friend again. With a grudge. The final cool thing that I want to talk about comes from the game Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and it concerns another endgame spoiler. It's a really neat game, and I highly recommend you play it for yourself. That said, your chance to skip this and get to the part where I conclude and say my goodbyes ends in 3, 2, 1, now. The core thing that makes Brothers a unique experience is the fact that you're basically playing a co-op game on your own. You control the brothers by using each side of the controller to move each boy. At one point in the game though, the older brother dies and half your controller stops doing anything. You can now only move the little brother, and it makes the loss hit a little harder because it's become a little bit personal now because it's affecting the gameplay that you've grown so accustomed to. And going off of memory and going off script, I think throughout the game, the older brother used to carry the younger brother across streams of water because the younger brother couldn't swim. But then I think at the end, after the older brother has died and some other stuff has happened, the younger brother learns to swim, and the way you swim across the water is by pressing the trigger that used to be associated with the older brother. So it's kind of like the spirit of the older brother helping him swim or something. It's a really cool thing. If I remember that actually being a thing in the game. If that actually wasn't a thing and I just made that up on the spot, I should probably write that down and put that in a game myself. Nonetheless, it's really cool how the narrative extends beyond just the on-screen elements and also enters the reality a little bit by impacting your inputs. It's just really cool stuff, and I'm sure that if I were to replay the game nowadays, I would probably cry because stuff about brothers makes me really emotional. My brothers are not dead, I just miss them, and I really care about them. So I just finished the game. This is me having just played it. Having replayed it, that is. And of course, there were a couple of tears. But I would just like to put it out there that to whoever on the development team that decided that it was a good idea to make it so you had to drag the corpse of your own brother into the grave, I would just like to kindly and respectfully wish you go f*** yourself. You know, just go f*** yourself, because that was so unnecessary. I was already devastated, and then I have to drag my own brother into the pit, and then fill in the pit as well. Anyway, that's it for me. Congratulations, you've made it to the end of the video. Have an achievement. It's on the house. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I just wanted to make something positive and have some fun, and yeah, I would say that this was pretty fun. Not only just to put together another video, but also it was really fun to think back on all of the games I've played and what moments really stood out to me. In fact, I recommend you do the very same thing, and if you feel like it, tell me about those cool moments you thought of in the comments down below. And if you could be kind enough to give a spoiler warning before going into that cool thing, that would be really nice of you. And if you want to hear me talk about more cool things that I've found in games, then let me know. I can definitely think of some more things to talk about. And before I go, as per usual, I gotta plug my streaming that I do. I stream on Twitch under the same name that I have here on YouTube. Link below for that. But in case you haven't seen it, I also stream here on YouTube now as well. Whichever platform you prefer out of the two, I am there and live every Monday to Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Central European Time. I hope to maybe catch you there in chat, and if that's not your style, I hope to see you in the next video. But I hope you all have a wonderful evening, morning, day, night, whatever it might be, wherever you might be, and I hope to see you all some other time. eventually, you and your friends figure out that he must be in the glowing sea, which is a very highly irradiated. Irradiated is such an awful word to say. I hate saying it.